Next month we start collecting new sin tax dollars. Have the Browns made a decision on what they want to see be done with that money? You know, in light of, because it all needs to connect, of what's happening here today.
So I think, Mark, one thing that's been confusing for people is the obligations. And so we have a lease that, of course, we inherited here, and that was from 1999. I'm sure it was written before 1999. That's when it started. In that lease, all capital maintenance and cap expense is the city's obligation. So when we saw that, we thought, okay, how are we going to undertake a project like this, knowing those obligations lie on the city? So I think we got creative, and what we did was we pre-funded it all, $125 million, and then over the next 15 years, we'll get the city's contribution of $30 million, and I think that the city feels like that's a fair percentage of that contribution given the lease. To your question on what happens in the future, I think those sin tax proceeds will just protect the city's investment. I think of it like the city in this case, and it's not in every case in the NFL. In this case, is the landlord, and it's always good for a landlord to have a reserve fund in case things have to be done.
Did you guys learn in this renovation what you see down the road, whether it's obviously the unsexy stuff, the mechanicals, the piping, so that you kind of know when you guys ask, here's what you guys should be thinking about, what's set aside for that money? So have you guys seen that yet?
We have. We've learned some of that. And the other thing about that kind of work, Mark, is a lot of it crops up as kind of emergency work, and you don't know what's coming, right? So sometimes it's hard to tell, is an escalator, an elevator going to break down?
Like the pipes that broke in the locker room from a couple years ago.
Exactly. But we do try to anticipate it. We have a much more formal process now on our end. So we've got real professionals always looking at the stadium, and like I said, trying to give the city a roadmap so there are no surprises.
Last question. A lot of impressive stuff in there, and obviously it is geared towards premium ticket holders. And people might say, well, why would we, isn't that exclusive? I mean, especially since there's public money mingled in here. How do you respond to that idea of access versus the public investment?
We were very cognizant of that, and I'd say that the great majority of the work we've done over the last 2 years applies to all of our fans. And if you really think of it, from our lighting changes, to our video board, to our audio system, to all of the ingress changes, to the escalators, and to the concession stands throughout the stadium. So taking concepts that we had in premium areas, bringing them to other parts of the stadium. If you look behind the big video boards, those are now what used to be kind of exclusive areas in a stadium, not in this stadium, but in a normal stadium. We've turned those into fan engagement areas, these plazas with open tables and chef concepts. And then we also heard from our fans that they wanted some more exclusive areas. So there are those fans out there who say, look, I'd love to come to your game, but I'd like to have this type of experience. I don't think we did that at the expense of all of the other things we achieved.